Insight into what it means and the sharpest opinion. There's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and we've heard a lot on race and race identity politics from the Socialist Spice Girls. But Ilhan Omar has commentary on a wide range of topics, including capitalism. So I wanted to make sure we didn't leave out those remarks because, it's important to give the full complement of her views. I want to help her stay in the public eye, just like President Trump does. Ilhan Omar on capitalism.
Okay.
The capitalist system has led to a concentration of wealth in a small handful of elites while working people suffer. We must stop the exploitation of working people to create a fair and just economy. I mean, Karl Marx is applauding from down below. There's no question. This is consistent with a lot of other musings on her website about government takeovers of this and government takeovers of that. So it's just worth noting that, as AOC's COS said the other week, the Green New Deal, it's not a climate thing at all. It's really a how do you change the entire economy thing. Right. And you won't be surprised to learn that the band sings in unison on this matter. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Steve Moore, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, author of the book Trumponomics: Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Good morning. By the way, I am right now in Las Vegas for the Freedom Fest conference, which is held every year here, and there are about 2,000 free market and libertarian people who've gathered here. And the reason I bring that up is because of what you just were talking about, Dan. We had a big discussion last night about the strangeness of this sudden popularity on the left and resurrection of socialism as a economic model. And one of the points that was made at dinner last night, because we had a number of big free market intellectuals there, was how strange it is that at this time when we have maybe the best economy in 30 years. I mean, we've got a booming employment market, the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, the lowest inflation rate in 40 years. We've got 7.5 million more jobs than people to fill them. Wages are rising. So just about everything is going right with the U.S. economy. We're doing much better than the Europeans. The Europeans, this European socialist model that AOC and others seem to want to emulate, that is flatlined, whereas we're booming. And don't you think it's strange at this moment in time when free market capitalism seems to be really flourishing that you have this new revival of socialism?
It's been brewing, though,
well,
for a while, but it's...
I mean, if we learn nothing from history, we know that those who seek power by subjugating others never go away. They're always going to be a part of the landscape. It's the indulgence of them that, by all of the institutions of societal organization, that's the alarming thing.
Well, a couple things. I mean, first of all, one of the things we talked about last night is how did this happen? I mean, how did we get a whole generation of young people that are now buying into this, model that is by any objective standard a failure, which is, socialism. It runs on a spectrum, but the more socialist, communist you are, the worse your economy does, and the more free market you are, the better your economy does. And I think right now the conclusion we came to, and I'd love, Amy, your thoughts about this, is that we are paying a very high price for allowing the left to run our school system now for 50 years and indoctrinating kids with these ideas. And somebody said it very well yesterday. I mean, I've learned a lot at this conference. I've spoken a couple times at it. The purpose of our schools, and especially our universities, is to teach children and young adults how to think. And this one scholar said, they don't do that. They don't teach kids how to think anymore. They teach kids what to think.
Exactly. No, they do, and I'm afraid that they're going to stop teaching about the Civil War because slavery was involved. I mean, honestly, because they keep deciding what our kids should learn and what they should know about history if it fits their agenda, and they do. I mean, nobody at my son's school could wear a "Make America Great Again" or a Trump T-shirt because they would get ridiculed. One kid did once, and he was bullied so badly that he had to go change his shirt, turn it inside out.
And my point would
So
be,
there's no free speech.
we're responsible. We are responsible for this. You and I and Dan and the people listening to the show, we allowed this to happen. I mean, you listen to someone like AOC and the craziness that spouts from her mouth. And by the way, she's not a stupid person. I mean, she's a intelligent person, but she is just regurgitating what the schools have and the professors and teachers have told her for the last 20
life.
years. And so I mean, this is why we need to have school choice. By the way, a great way to reduce income inequality and wealth inequality. I have an article, it will be in the Wall Street Journal next week about this, is if the argument by the left is only rich people and very rich, the top 1% are benefiting from the stock market boom, and the stock market's up 50% since Trump has been elected, then why don't we allow every single American worker to become a capitalist and own a piece of the rock and own stocks by allowing them to take their Social Security money, and rather than put it in the black hole of the Social Security Trust Fund, and there's no trust and there's no fund, why not allow them to invest that in the stock market in a 401k type plan, and they will then share the gains every paycheck they get when American companies do better. I mean, what do you think about that idea, Dan?
Yeah, I'm a fan of getting the government out of managing my money for me. I've always been a fan of that, always will be.
By the way, do you know what the return, you're and my and Amy, and especially young people's annual return on the money you put in the Social Security system is? You know what your rate of return is?
1%.
It's 0.9% per year.
Rounding up.
Now, is there anyone out there who doesn't believe by putting your money in stocks and bonds and just an index fund over 40 years, you're going to get a better return than 1%?
I get a better return than that in a demand deposit account. Yeah, exactly. I want to ask you about, go back to one of our favorite topics to discuss, just because interesting angle here, U.S. and China and where deal stands on trade. Piece in Bloomberg News, Tyler Cohen, suggesting that while tariffs is the headliner, the real impasse between the United States and China is over Huawei and how tough a line we're going to take on Huawei, as well as the issue of Taiwanese independence from China. Do you agree with that? And do you see, and I don't know, conversations perhaps with Larry Kudlow, do you see those as the real stumbling blocks?
Well, look, I think Huawei is one of Donald Trump's strongest bargaining chips here, right? I mean, the sanctions on Huawei have really hurt that company, and they've costed tens of billions of dollars. And that's sort of their Google, that's their that's their Apple, that's their Google, that's their Amazon. So it's hurt China a lot. And I think Trump is smart to use that card in these negotiations because, by the way, they do violate a lot of our security protocols in terms of what Huawei is doing. In terms of Taiwan, look, you're not going to meet anyone who's more pro-Taiwan than I am. And by the way, Donald Trump is very pro-Taiwan. Remember what happened, was it 2 days after the election, he took a call from the Taiwanese president.
Right. Yes.
And that was awesome. And that's when I knew this was going to be a great president. No other president, even none the Bushes or the Clintons, would do that because they knew it would piss off China. But why shouldn't we be able to talk to our allies? And it is a real danger. I mean, I think China, certainly the way they're building up their military in the South China Sea, has their eyes on a potential military, takeover of Taiwan. So we need, an independent Taiwan, and they're one of our great allies. So we should stand in their corner in this. And if that's true, I can't confirm that that's what Trump is talking about in these negotiations, but I hope it is. I hope it is, because we stand by our friends.
What about the new NAFTA, which is called UMSCA? What is it?
Yeah, U.S., Mexico, Canada trade agreement. What's the prospect on that getting a House vote?
So first of all, Amy, you're very politically incorrect to call it the new NAFTA. You're Donald Trump doesn't want to call it the new NAFTA because that was the worst trade deal in the history of the world. By the way, that was obviously something I disagreed with Donald Trump about. Look, I don't see Pelosi budging 1 inch on that. I mean, it's gotten to the point where Democrats are so deranged about the Trump presidency, they will not even move things forward that are clearly in America's economic interest and the interest of the whole North American continent to deny Trump a victory. So I hate to say this, I think I'm not optimistic about the possibility of getting this or anything done because of the kind of arms race that's going on between the Republicans and Democrats and a toxic environment right now. And it's sad because if that vote, Amy, were to come to the House floor, an up or down on the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, it's not NAFTA, it's USMCA. If we were able to get that to a House vote, it would pass. There's no question about it. But I just don't think Pelosi is going to do that. And by the way, I thought one of the great things Trump did was when he told, when he said that Pelosi is not a racist. She's not. I totally disagree with her on policy, but she is not a racist. I wish Trump hadn't made these other comments because it deflected from the internal civil war that's going on in the Democratic Party.
And Nancy Pelosi returned the favor by saying Trump is a racist. So it's nice. It was a nice moment.
Make America white again.
Yeah,
That's what she
right.
said.
Steve Moore.
There's no making nice with these people.
No, exactly. Economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, the book Trumponomics: Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Have a great week, guys. Take care.
Take care.
I was going to ask him if he knew who Chance the Snapper was.
I'm glad you didn't.
And Stephen Moore joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.